sorry, that, it's really going to be based on the student's need, very individualized. So, Tanya, I don't know if you would like me to answer questions about adapted phys ed first and then move on to unified sports.
Yeah, Jamil, I know you have your hand up. Is it about adaptive or unified?
It's about adaptive, I think. I'm not sure I understand what unified sports is yet. That's what she's going to talk about next, right?
Yeah. I don't know why this keeps playing.
So are you noticing that this is for the you said you're getting referrals, like you have 75 referrals. Is that referred from the physical, from the PE teachers referring, or the teachers referring the students, or the parents are asking for this?
No, this is only so far from teachers. So PE teachers, classroom teachers.
What are the age ranges that typically these kids are being referred at?
Majority is elementary level.
Okay.
Go ahead. Yep.
No, I'm just asking because this would have been huge for my son. He's 17 now, he's a senior, but this would have been huge for him when he was younger. He was diagnosed with autism. And one of the biggest problems he had was being able to work in any kind of team or group setting, following the instructions, having a group of kids go do something, that's completely difficult for him. Now, as he's gotten a little bit older, it's gotten a little bit better, but by this age, he's like, no sports for me. I'm out. I don't want to have anything to do with sports. Right. And so I feel like because he didn't have the base of a positive PE experience when he was younger, now it's like, nope, I'm not going to do anything like that. And so I'm wondering now, is this something that you guys would recognize when going through the process of diagnosing kids and evaluating them, where you say, hey, no, this kid also needs help in PE and he's going to get that support as well, and they'll put it in the IEP? Is this an automatic thing, or are we just educating the parents so that Medford can decide? Maybe that's a question for Joan, Medford, to decide if we're going to start doing this.
So we are doing this. So what's happening is, once we do the referral and Carla conducts her assessment, then we look at the specific goals and objectives that the student would require for the APE and what the model will look like, what the service delivery will look like. So it's going to be individualized, and our hope is to expand it and have more physical education teachers trained in this, so that all schools have APE people, but Carla is really driving. So this is like our pilot year. So we're very excited to have it in our school system, but there is an evaluation process. There will be discussions with the parents saying, we feel your child may be appropriate for an assessment. So we're going to conduct an assessment and then come up with the goals and objectives to address that.
Can a parent initiate this, or is it from the teacher PE side?
I think it could be either. I mean, if the parent has concerns, like just any evaluation, if a parent has concerns, we want to look at those and address them and assess them to see where we go. So I think we would welcome parent referrals, but right now we're leaning towards the physical education teachers, because they see the students firsthand, and the teachers see them firsthand, and maybe the struggles that they're seeing in the physical education class, either frustration or like in the video, they don't understand the directions, they're having difficulty following along, or their fine motor skills, and what sort of adaptive equipment they would need. So that's where we're at right now, is just getting all this information together, which will really help us in the coming years of where, what direction we're going in. But we would welcome referrals, and we would observe the student and then decide if an evaluation was appropriate.
Sharon, I know you had your hand up. Do you want to ask your question?
I do. Thank you. So my daughter is in second grade, and when she was in kindergarten, I specifically asked about adaptive PE at her IEP meeting, and was told we didn't have it, and that the PT would be accompanying her to PE class. I love our PT. I've been nothing but happy with her, but I joined the meeting, and I apologize that I joined late, but I joined right as you were saying, Carla, that a PT is not a substitute for an adaptive PE teacher. So my daughter is up for her reeval right now. I have to sign the paper saying we're agreed to the evaluations. Is this something we can ask for since she is in a 3-year reeval in second grade?
Right. And just to clarify that too, the PT absolutely can be in the gym if the physical therapy is going to help the student access the curriculum. So that can happen. What I just mean by that is the PT wouldn't be teaching the curriculum.
Right.
So if your student were to require a more specialized instruction of the curriculum, then that would be where the APE comes in. But absolutely, the PT can still, accompany the student to general ed, to their PE class, if it's helping your child access. So
right. I get the sense she's like assisting her in class. I mean, that's my sense. I don't know.
And that could be, they could be doing certain exercises that are helping her, participate in the general ed PE class. And like we said, that we're always going to look at the least restrictive environment. And,
right.
The hope is that the student can remain in a general PE class with those accommodations. And the accommodation could include, PT service at that time, if that's what, and maybe, I don't know if Denise, you want to speak on that, but, my theory is that a PT is needed for a student to access certain curriculum. And if that's why the related service is there. So that's the difference, is that the PT helps access, the APE is the curriculum, if that makes sense.
Okay, that helps. Thank you.
And in regards to the 3-year reevaluation, I mean, this would be a good time to conduct the assessment for APE, because we're doing all the assessment at once. So, we have we've spoken to the evaluation team leaders. Carla did a presentation to I meet with the ETLs every week. She did the same presentation, and we said, she's going to be reaching out to do, as these students come to her attention and she does the observations. But if there is a 3-year reevaluation coming up and you feel that a student would require it, then we would want to add that assessment to the consent form. So I'd reach out to your ETL. You could see me on the email, and if they have any questions, I can, explain it further to them. But I think during the 3-year evaluation process, it's a good time to conduct that assessment as well.
Okay.
I think my question for Carla, Alex, I'm sorry, or as the other PT in Medford, is where does the APE teacher's role fall in educating the general education PE teachers? I think that's a huge area that that both PTs that have been in Medford, myself, I've been here for a longer period than Nicole, but we have worked very hard on working with the general education teachers to understand a child's physical or social, emotional, or cognitive issues. And I think that Joan would agree that is part of our role, either OT or PT. It's part of our role to sort of work with the general education. But where, as an adaptive PE teacher, I guess, in where do you see the role of adaptive PE? Do you see that taking over for us? Would love to, not that I'm not going to say we'd love to give it to you, but are you envisioning moving forward that you will be the one educating the PE teachers?
In terms of, providing PE teachers with accommodations and best practice and the best way to modify curriculum, I would provide that for PE teachers. But in terms of, like I said before, it's not going to replace the service. So it wouldn't replace PT if PT was.
No, I'm not asking you to replace
Right.
PT. I understand. I understand the difference, I hope, between APE and PT, but I guess my concern is more where the least restrictive environment is what we're all hoping for.
Right.
That I do think that there's an opportunity with some teaching that may or may not have fallen under the realm of various related service providers or various special education people. But now having an adaptive PE person in the district.
Yep.
Will you have a staff? I guess is what it sounds like Denise is asking to me. Will you have teachers or who will be training the general PE the gen ed PE teachers so that they are fluent in APE?
So
Is that
if
correct,
I can
Denise?
address that, Carla, I think the goal for the district is we're starting this pilot now. and we want the program up and running. And we're hoping to have more of the physical education teachers take the APE training. So we want as many staff members trained as possible. So it just doesn't fall on Carla's shoulders, but we also want everyone in the building to be aware of what the APE means and that they can provide that as well. So we would like to expand upon this as the years go on and provide that training to as many staff as possible, because I mean, the more inclusive that we can be and have students and have teachers have the skills, just like we want our general education teachers to have skills when our students with disabilities are in their history or math or science class, we want the same for our physical education teachers.
Right. So I think you said it perfectly, obviously, our director, but yeah, just, you might have students that are in a general education class and they're able to access the curriculum with modifications and accommodations. And we continue, those teachers are continuing to educate themselves on how to do that, on how to provide accommodations and modifications to students who have an IEP. So that would be something that, like Joan said, there's already been a professional development with myself and the PE teachers. But in addition to that, we do still have special education teachers for math and English and all the subjects. And that would be the same for physical education. Although the PE teachers would still be educating themselves, we would also have the APE role for that extra specialized instruction.
Is there a time? Oh, sorry, Alex, go ahead.
Yeah, just a short one. So I was wondering, just to kind of understand the timeline. So right now you're just evaluating, right? The AP is not yet in any IEP.
It's not yet in an IEP that I have, assessed and put it in an IEP yet, because like I said, we still need parent consent and we're just, it's only October, but possibly there may be students that are coming into the district with this already on their IEP. So that would be right now, maybe the only case where it would be on an IEP at this moment to date.
And because this is, like I'm hearing it's a pilot year, do you think that all the kids who could potentially qualify are gonna get that in the IEP, or are you gonna cap it that, we start with 20 kids, or?
No, I mean, to address that, I mean, I don't think we can really cap specialized services. If a student requires it, then it gets written on their IEP, and that's, the team feels that it's appropriate and the student requires it, then absolutely. I mean, right, on top of Carla doing the observation and the assessment, she is providing APE to students throughout the district right now without it being on their IEP. So it's not like she's just doing observation. I mean, I see Carla, with her bag going from school to school. So she is providing that APE right now, but we are working on identifying those specific students, what they require, and having specific goals and objectives to address in the APE class. So those will be added to whoever requires it.
Yeah, and I did set a timeline for myself, and I presented that to administration, and based on the timeline, we're ahead to right on track with that. So in November, I want to start the formal assessments, which means the consents will be going out. And I do expect to have this on IEPs, many, if not all, by June, honestly.
Carla, and probably Joan too. As far as what Denise was talking about before,
Mhm.
so kind of, where does the responsibility land? Are all the current phys ed teachers already in a direct path to have training for APE, or do they have to have it by a certain time?
So we honestly have not worked out the logistics of that yet, but those are the next steps that Carla, Rachel, Perry, and we meet on a consistent basis to discuss things. So that will be the next steps that we take.
And who would fall into that category? Would it just be the phys ed teachers, or would paras, like?
It would be the physical
PTs?
education teachers.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Yep, sure. And
See
did
if
you have a
there's-
question?
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, I imagine it's a licensing thing, right? Just like you,
Yeah.
PE and PT can't be
Mhm.
exchanged because legally it's a different license.
Right. So, as much as we want to educate, like special education teachers are still needed in the district, and then there are general education teachers that are all educated on how to provide accommodations and modifications. But like you said, at the end of the day, they are different things in terms of licensure. So I'm a licensed adapted physical education teacher, and the general physical education teachers are not, and in districts around us, they are different things. So I feel that I could help provide that training to general physical education teachers because it's beneficial. But there will be situations where students require a small group taught by an adapted physical education teacher specifically.
Right. And I can support that Denise has done a wonderful job already with my son when he was at the Roberts, speaking to the gen ed PE teacher for accommodations, trying to use the right words.
Right.
Jamil, did you have another question? You're on mute.
I just wanted to quickly say, and this is probably the same issue you have with, special ed teacher, and the kids are all so different. And I'm just trying to visualize, Carla, I guess you can say, I mean, the kids that have these disabilities, these are very different disabilities. And,
Yeah.
A kid who can't hit a baseball is very different than a kid who can't socialize versus a kid who can't see versus a kid who can, they're just very different disabilities.
Yep.
And I'm trying to visualize how, I mean, this is the same issue with even, teaching English or whatever, but I mean, how somebody could be trained in helping all the different kinds of kids out there that might have a disability.
Right. So go ahead. No, you can finish. Go ahead.
No, I'm kind of done. I'm like, how is it that even, that seems a little like, I'm sure everybody will try to accommodate the needs of every specific child. I mean, it's the same challenge you have academics as a first, as phys eds, but it's just, I'm trying to imagine how it would work.
Are you thinking it's like a lofty goal? Like
Yeah.
a loft? Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll give you kind of two examples. So let's take a visual impairment, and maybe that student is in general PE. The adaptive phys ed teacher might come in and provide the accommodations needed, or the general PE teacher could too. But if the student just requires maybe like red tape around a ball for a certain visual impairment, and that could be all it is, like certain equipment could also cover that. And then I think of like, we do have, every district has substantially separate classrooms, and that's more of kind of a small group setting. And a lot of those needs can be addressed just on, the basis that it's a smaller group. So, maybe students with sensory issues due to autism, right? It's really hard to be in a class of 30 kids or whatever it is in the gym, especially, with whatever's going on, loud noises around the building, the echoing, all of that. So that's really difficult. So that's kind of where the small group instruction is really beneficial. And, I know there is a whole array and observing for the past couple of weeks, I have, really put eyes on a lot of our students with disabilities, if not all of them. And that is true. There's many different types. So it's all about, what does that student require? And where does small group come in? Where does one-to-one instruction come in? Where does the push-in model come in? And how do we make that work for the students who require it? So really what's important is doing the assessment and first determining, what students do require this. That's obviously the first step. And then we kind of look at the layout of everything.
Wouldn't the first step be determining what is the goal? I guess there are already physical education goals already been determined by the Department of Education, right?
Right.
Like they're supposed to be able to, I assume, run around. I don't know what the goals are.
Like
and so I guess that's
skipping, jumping, locomotor. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All that stuff. Okay. So and then some kids can do all that, but maybe they can't do it in a group setting, or maybe they can't play.
Right.
I'm just thinking of my kid, of course. Everybody comes from their own personal experience. Being able to play on a team, being able to follow instructions, be able, that kind of stuff. So that's where I'm coming from. And it's like, and is that part of physical education goals? And I guess it is.
So the goals, but I will tell you the assessment that I'm using, it does have all those pieces. It has the behavioral, the cognitive, it does have, questions and a certain rating scale for all of those concerns.
Well, I, for one, want to say that it's really exciting. And I know that, I mean, you all know, and Melanie, you certainly know that we've been trying to get this for a long time. And it finally showed up in the budget magically. It's amazing. Does anybody else have any more questions on the APE, or do you want to move on to the unified sports? I'm going to take that as a hard
Move
yes
on
to
to
move on. Yep.
All right. The unified sports is how should I say this? Way like lighter, I guess, right? So it's, there's no real requirements around it. There's no assessment around it. It's just a really awesome, fun thing that we're able to have in Medford. And, after we talk a little bit about it, I can let Tanya kind of have a testimonial on that because she has been at our game so far. So I'm going to present this again, and I'm not, hold on, give me 1 second. Okay, we all see this? Good. Okay, unified sports. So unified sports is right now we have basketball at the high school level. That is where we have started. So it is a program set forth by the Special Olympics of Massachusetts. They do provide a stipend. So for uniforms, for referees, things like that, for the buses to and from the game. So that's really great. We play other schools around our district. So in this case, the GBL, we have a couple of non-Greater Boston League teams that we're playing. And yes, Melanie, we do play tomorrow at 3:30 at home if you guys want to come check it out. So to get into it, again, like I said, the Special Olympics, it brings together athletes both with and without disabilities to train and compete on the same team. And here are just some of the main takeaways of it. Participants improve their physical fitness, which again is why, physical education is for everybody. Not everybody wants to play sports after school. However, if we have adapted physical education in Medford, I think it's really going to tie in nicely to be able to participate safely in unified sports. So students, both with and without disabilities, sharpen their skills and learn acceptance and inclusion, which has been just wonderful for, I think, some of the students without disabilities who maybe didn't know how much they would really fall in love with this. And it's been really nice to see. I think it's really important to bridge that gap between our students with and without disabilities and promote inclusion through team practice and competition. So everyone is welcome. So it is for students of all abilities, which is something I keep saying. The way that the Special Olympics breaks it down is that you have partners and you have athletes, and the athletes have intellectual disabilities. But what I have come to realize is that students signed up, and maybe they signed up and as a partner, but in fact have a disability themselves. So it really doesn't matter, I guess, the level of disability. That all goes out the window. It's for students of all abilities. So, maybe some students with a disability have taken on more of that experienced leadership role, and others might be participating as an entry-level team player. So that's sort of how I'm looking at it. So it's not black and white. It's not like kids with disabilities are on this side and they're being helped by kids without disabilities. It hasn't been like that at all. It's really just been all abilities across the board. And, there is no separation of students at all. What we have going on right now is at the high school level, we have basketball in the fall, and you are eligible if you are a freshman all the way up to postgraduate. So if your student is going to be attending Medford High School until the age of 22, they can participate in this. And I believe, and Joan, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that that goes to out of district students as well. So from freshman to postgraduate can participate as well. Yep. So we have a total of 5 games. So, nothing too long. We want to keep interest in it. One end of the year jamboree. We have uniforms, everything you'd see and experience at a typical high school game. We have announcing of who scored a basket, we're introducing students at the beginning. We have the national anthem, the whole thing. So it's been really awesome. We had a huge turnout, our first home game, which was 2 weeks ago. We have a home game tomorrow. And last week we played at Malden. In the spring, we're going to have high school track and field. I don't know about the meets or anything like that, but I do know that we are participating in it. We've signed up to join. And I got an email today about middle school unified and, you know, attending a information session about bringing middle school unified sports to Medford. So we had initially anticipated that for next year, this being our first year doing it. But, you know, I'm probably going to attend that session tomorrow and learn more about it and you know, how we can bring it to the middle school level as well. Is that my last slide? That may have been my last slide on unified, but I think it would be great. I don't know, maybe if Tanya, you want to speak about it. You have a son on the team, so.
I do. Actually, I've, you know, wanted him to be involved in sports for all of high school, but, you know, certain limitations, you know, can make you hesitant, can make you doubt, you know, whether the services are in place. It's, you know, it's scary on some level as a parent. Him being involved in this, having practice on Mondays, he loves it. He looks forward to it. The games are exciting. And, you know, if you go to the games, you will see, you know, it was interesting when we were at Malden last week. There was a student in a wheelchair and who was just as active in the whole progression. And the other thing that is really kind of neat is that, you know, the kids that are signing up that don't have a disability are learning a lot of outward facing coaching. So, you know, instead of them saying, see, I'll show you how to do it, you can actually see them thinking on the floor, you know what, let me give the ball to this student, to this teammate, and let them do it. And then, you know, it's very organic. And I think that's what is the best part of it. The kids get excited. You know, there is the scores being kept. It's, you know, the board's lit up. All the team in Medford, I noticed that, you know, we announced each of the team members, which was kind of cool in the beginning. They didn't do that at Malden. So it's been kind of neat to see. And I'm curious to see at the next few games too, kind of, you know, what it looks like at the away games, you know, signage, advertising, you know, getting the word out. And I did just send out an email, I think it was yesterday, to pretty much the entire town, just to kind of, you know, remind people that we definitely don't want this to be, you know, like a crock pot recipe, set it and forget it. Like, here you go, here's the funding. Okay, you know, you got what you want. It's so much more than that. And I just think that I think that you actually have to see it to understand it. So I really recommend anybody, you know, definitely attending the games. The kids love it. You know, after the game was over, you know, they are all doing Carla, what do you call that? When they all slap the hands, they give the high five to each player going by. I don't know what you call that. But it's very powerful as a parent to see my kid finally doing that with other kids who signed up on their own, who want to be there, who want to do it. And hopefully this will also forge, you know, organic friendships between kids with and without disabilities, which is something the special education subcommittee is putting forward. So there's just a lot of, you know, we have the disability awareness curriculum being implemented in Medford Public Schools this year. So everything just kind of ties together. And this is just another part of it. And, you know, even though it's a little late, it's better late than never. I would rather have my kid experience it now and moving forward than to not have experienced it at all.
Carla, I cannot tell you how how great would be to have something at middle school. I was
Mhm.
actually, coming to the meeting thinking, I'm gonna listen to what, I'm gonna find out as much as I can. And then I was about to send you an email asking about this, because we are really waiting for this. So it's just great. Like the
Yeah.
sooner the better, like
Right.
Tanya says.
I agree. And I think that it goes without saying that to have that, together, not separate, starting in middle school. So like you mentioned, Tanya, the disability awareness curriculum, if we can have kids at that really tough middle school age, feeling the school inclusivity and the school pride and just the togetherness of everybody that's in their school, to start there, I think is really impactful. And then it becomes kind of like the next 8 years in high school for the students who attend till they're 22, we really could build up something really special.
And
No.
that's one of the things that, we had talked about in terms of the friendship building as well, when we were talking with the autism support group who were, actively interviewing the Best Buddies program. And they were talking about the Best Buddies program really being implemented at the middle school level, because that's when students are struggling. All students are really struggling with identity and friendships and all the things that, middle schoolers struggle with. So it's actually the prime time and place to make sure that those things are happening, and also gives an outlet for the students there, to give all students an opportunity to build those friendships outside of sort of the regular school day. So it seems to be a good fit there as well. And then back to Carla, your point around out of district students, obviously I know that they are welcome in the life of the school and should be participating in the life of the school and offer the opportunity to participate in the life of the school. The question is, how is that information actually getting pushed out to them? So now that we have a unified sports program, and this is great, how, I guess Joan would be the best person to answer that question, or one of the coordinators, how is this information being shared with our out of district families?
So I believe a lot of our out of district families, and if they haven't received it at the high school level regarding the unified sports, I would need to know about that. But I do feel like we're at a better place with the communication with our out of district families, and they are receiving notices. We have an upcoming homecoming dance that I know that some people on the call receive the information. So I'm hoping that we get out more information, but if we're not, then we need to work on that and make sure that everything is getting out to parents.
So is there a structure for that? So I would assume that would be, since it's at the high school, it would be the high school out of district students. So whose role would that be? Would it be the principals, the assistant principals?
So I think it would be both the principals and the evaluation team leaders, because they have the most direct contact with the families. So I will meet with them. I'll discuss with them and making sure that everything that comes, through Medford, either the high school, the middle school, is getting out to parents.
Yeah, and just to add to that, we did specifically reach out to the ETLs about this, about unified sports, and I did hear back confirmation from at least one ETL saying, I sent out the flyer to all her out of district students. So I know at least in that case, but I did reach out, and I think I thought maybe Joan did as well, to the ETLs about their students who are out of district, making sure they got this specific information.
Thank you. That would be great. And I think Joan, at some point, and again, I'm sure this is a CPAC related question too, but just thinking about data collection around this, really checking to see how much participation there is, if improved communication has happened, that sort of thing. And maybe this is the year with things happening and, the training around staff and what have you, to really be able to check in or do some data collection along the way, so that at the end of the year, we have some idea of whether how that's working and whether that's working. I know we have Anne, myself, and Jamil, I think, right? At least 3 of the 8, how many families are on here? Of the families that are out of district here. I'm not in the high school, but you guys, no, Anne, you're not in the high school either. Jamil, did you get the info?
You're on mute, Jamil.
You're on mute, Jamil.
I haven't gotten anything, and it's still a huge problem. Jonah has not gotten any better. Um, I heard about a notice that goes out from the superintendent weekly.
Yep.
Do you all get that?
Yep.
I don't get that. I think Tanya forwarded me something about a chess club. So then I took that and sent that to the principal, and he came back and said, I asked him, who's the contact? He didn't respond. I asked again, then he responded. Then I contacted that teacher, and everything's great. So hopefully Quentin will go to a chess club meeting soon. I did get an email a week before I got it yesterday about the homecoming dance. And I said, oh, a week's notice. Great.
That actually, Jamil, just so you know, nobody got notified of that. And
Okay.
actually what happened was the student, and I just want to kind of expound upon this because I actually emailed Paul about this because it was an issue.
Okay.
Because the kids in Access didn't get notified. The senior class sent out the notices. So it did not go to all of the people that it should have gone to.
Okay.
So I did reach out to Paul and let him know,
Mhm.
at which time he did tell the senior class that they need to resend it, and they need to send it at the same time to everybody, including out of district and Access class. And
Wait a minute, the kids in Access didn't get the notification? And
Oh,
is that true of the connect? Huh?
that even a lot of the gen ed kids didn't get it either. It
I
just
do
went
know-
out sporadically.
I guess my point is the dance is not really my biggest issue. It's just like I don't know what parents are getting. So I don't know what I'm not getting. And I bring this up all the time. Can I just get what all the other parents are getting? And I just have no clue unless another parent forwards something to me or tells me about something.
Joan, is there a way and I don't want to get sidetracked on this
I know,
for
but
Carla's
I didn't know
call.
about this program. I didn't know about the unified sports. I don't know about anything. And I brought it up so many times that I do think it's personal, even though I know you say it's not. So I'll just keep putting it out there, and I'll wait to see if I get something.
I think one of the issues which we have, it's about the Gmail account. So it typically goes to the student's Gmail account. I can look into it again. I mean, when I don't hear from people, I assume that they're getting communication. So I will continue to work on that, Jamil, because I do want you to get the notifications. I think it's really important.
I think the
especially where
last email I
Quentin is
got
a
from
senior.
Paul DeLavo was in June, and he's saying, I'm going to send out a test email to you to make sure you're at least getting my emails. And I never
Okay.
got the test email. And then I wrote him and I said, I haven't gotten your test email, and I never heard back from him. So that was
And then
the
I
last
just
of
also
that.
want to add, Joan, that I don't, just as an aside, like I know this is not the high school, but for us, I get, the principal at our school, the McGlynn, emails me directly as a parent. I'm on the parent list. It doesn't need to be Gracie's Gmail. And maybe it's different at the high school because I know the kids are sort of more, but also for kids that aren't, able, if you will, to respond on their own email or to use their own email per se. It seems like there could be a workaround or should be a workaround. So to this point, getting back to the unified sports piece, to this point, if there's only 33, families in the entire district out of, the 4,000 something, 33 is not a lot, divided by 3 people, 5 people, that's 10 phone calls or less. To call the families and to really do some family outreach on how do we actually make this happen, because it has been an ongoing concern. And especially, because families, and I know, full disclosure, folks know that my daughter's out of district, and one of the things that families sacrifice, that students sacrifice when they go out of district, is community, right? We don't have any community. And so it's even more important that families really get this information. And so I think I'm really excited about going to the game tomorrow. We're going to bring Gracie, and we'll see how that all goes, but I'm looking forward to it. And Jamil, I encourage you, if you're around tomorrow at 3:30, to come down to the game. And I also think it's about building personal relationships. And when you're not in the school and when people don't see you, it's hard to build those relationships. So this is one of the ways to do them too. So Carla, I'm really excited about this, and I'm really excited about seeing it expand. And then last plug I want to put forward is that the 28th. So normally we would have our behavioral health and special ed subcommittee this week, but things are really crazy this week. So it's going to be next week, which is Thursday at 6. And this is where we'll talk about priorities for the year. for special education and or behavioral health. So, come to that meeting. That'll be posted Zoom, and we'll ask CPAC to post it as well. But this is where we can talk more too about unified sports or expanding programs or, any of these issues that we're talking about now. So thanks, guys.
Melanie, I did just want to add that Joan and I and Alex had a conversation about what you had just said. And that conversation basically stated that for kids that have a Gmail account at the high school level, because everything does go to the students' Gmail, but the parents of the kids that may not be able to check their own email or whatever, we talked about adding the parents on that distribution as well.
And whatever the superintendent's sending out to everybody, can I get that too? There's just so much that I have no idea.
I'm the one that shared the superintendent emails with Jamil when.
But I mean, do you all get them? Do you all get them? Why don't I get them? The whole thing baffles me. It's not brain surgery. And I'm kind of frustrated about it. And I don't know because when I told Paul DeLave about it, he goes, well, that's the superintendent's issue. I'm like, okay, so you guys are all sending out your own little emails to your own list of parents that The whole thing baffles me. I'll stop talking about it.
Well, I do. So the one thing that's been brought up before when we talked about this, and I don't know if it has any validity, is School Brains, like what email School Brains has. So it may have no validity, but I'm just throwing that out there because I've heard that because I have no idea if my 13-year-old is getting these emails, and trust me, they don't share it with me. So I would, I get the emails.
We will work to improve communication, and I apologize, Jamil, that this continues to be an issue. And I know that, Joan has reached out a number of times. So, as a school committee member, but also as a parent that's concerned about this, I'll follow up on this too. And then Jamil and anyone else who's on this call who doesn't already follow that, your school's Facebook page or PTO page. Every school has their own Facebook or PTO page. So the high school MHS/MVTHS is the high school's Facebook page, and they do post a lot of information there. So, definitely join that if you haven't. And if you don't like to be on Facebook, you can always create your, an account just for that. But there is information shared there. And then the superintendent mailings will make sure that you're getting that, Jamil. Thank you.
Sarah has a question. Sarah, do you want to come off mute?
Excuse me, can you tell me at what time is going to be tomorrow the game of the Unified Sport Program?
3:30.
It's in the high school?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. And excuse me, I have a question. I listen that this program is only for high school, not for middle school, yes?
Currently
Correct.
only high school. We are looking to add middle school at some point. There's an information session that I'll be attending, and we're going to get more information, but that is the intent.
Because my son is in the last year of the middle school, and he's going to be in the high school the next year. But can he join the high school? He's almost in the last year. Oh, I don't know. Can I go in last? I don't know. I think it's very interesting about this program. Like, I didn't know.
Yeah, so I would say at this point, middle school unified sports is not going to be implemented this year. So he would join the high school team next year.
I put it in a lot of programs in the Med for Recreation about basketball. It's more the clinics. I put in all the clinics over there, and I don't know if that one help him for the high school. He has certain idea about how to play basketball.
So the Med for Recreation is separate from this.
I know.
Yeah. So I'm not quite sure what they do over there, and maybe that's something Melanie, we can talk about too. I'm a little bit out of tune with what goes on over there. But like I said, it's for students of all abilities. So if your student wants to join next year, absolutely, he could play next year at the high school level.
And sorry about I'm with Jamil too about my son didn't change a lot of information about the school. Sometimes they send me emails, sometimes doesn't. It's hard for me. I always ask for they can send me to me because he doesn't share information. like about the dance, like it's going to be the next week. I know for my daughter, no for, okay, that's not true. I received the email. Okay, that's it. Sorry, thanks.
And I just wanted to add, if I could quickly, the Medford Recreation, we're actually, again, this is part of the Behavioral Health Special Education Subcommittee work, because community is part of the life of the school and community for our students. And so we are establishing a meeting with Medford Recreation and the mayor, currently scheduled for November 17th at 5:30 p.m. If you can join us, it's going to be likely via Zoom and or in person or hybrid. If you want to join us, that would be great to have families there. We are advocating for additional funding for Medford Recreation to have more inclusive integrated programming, because right now they have pretty much 2 adaptive classes and about 20 or so, other classes. And the reality is, with the Americans with Disabilities Act, students with disabilities are of course entitled to go to any of the classes, and there should be supports across all of them. And the adaptive program is really wonderful and great, and we want to make sure that that is highlighted. But we also want to make sure that we're not creating separate programming, which further divides our kids instead of being integrated or inclusive, or integrated and inclusive and unified. So that's part of the work we'll be doing with the mayor. November 17th, we have a meeting with Medford Rec. Several families are already coming. If you'd like to come, please email me and we can talk again about, how we're moving this work forward. But I think the exciting thing, and I don't want people to lose sight of the fact that it's happening, right? How long have we been wanting this and looking for it? And it's happening now, right? We have adaptive programming. We have a rec department, first of all. Now we have adaptive programming, and we'll get to inclusive and integrated, and we have the unified sports and adaptive PE, and this is the first year for that, and it just means it's going to grow and get better. So I'm excited about the change that's afoot.
I think we all are.
Can I just chime in and say we use the adaptive services at the rec department a lot for my 2nd grader, and for those with littler kids that aren't at the unified sports level, it is a really good program. And when they can, they will also do push-in services to the generalized classes as well, which has really helped my kid access those classes.
That's great.
Yeah.
Krista, will you be able to come to that meeting on the 17th?
Yeah, I just wrote down, email Melanie to go to that meeting.
Okay.
Melanie, I'll try to come too. We did adaptive swim this summer and it was mostly great. So I will have that little caveat. It was mostly great. But my daughter, who's also in 2nd grade, has done Medford Youth Girls Softball. She did it in the spring and she's doing it again. And so she's the only kid certainly with Down syndrome on her team. And it's been a phenomenal experience. The coach has been spectacular. He and I had a 45-minute conversation in the spring just so he could learn about how to coach her. It's been fabulous. So I just so excited about the unified sports. I mean, she's obviously a long way out of high school, but I think about these girls kind of, playing with her again when they're all in high school together, and I'm thrilled. So thank you, Carla, for that.
Super exciting. And Carla, I guess I just want to add one of the things that I used to be really sort of against, like adaptive stuff, because I wanted Gracie to be able to be with the other kids. And I thought, she has the right to be with the other kids. And of course she does, but she also deserves the scaffolding and the supports to be able to teach her how to do that. And that's really a big piece of adaptive PE and adaptive programming. And Shanine Peliquin, who used to be with EMARC, now Communitas, and is a community member in Medford and works really hard towards inclusion, was the person that really helped me understand that adaptive is about building a bridge to, to be able to support kids in the community in all kinds of settings. So I think it's really great to be able to look at it that way.
Sarah, you have another question?
Can I make a fast comment about summer recreation? I put my son in the golf clinics, in the soccer clinics from summer recreation, and they was like regular kids, and I talked with the trainer, and they accept him, and he was doing kind of okay because when everybody go right, he went left. When he went left, everybody go right. But was a good experience for him, and I hope that can happen over here in all the programs in Medford. That's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. All right, does anybody else have any questions or anything that they want to add? Carla, do you have any?
No, just thank you for letting me share this information. I'm really passionate about it. I love working with kids with disabilities. That's my passion. And then my other passion is athletics. So it coming together is really kind of a dream situation for me. So I'm really excited about it. And I'm probably going to continue just to spread that excitement every chance I get. So wherever you need me to present this information, I will do it.
That's awesome. I think we all feel the same way about how great a program it is and that we're excited we have it now. And, thank you to everybody that made that possible, including
And
Melanie.
how lucky Medford is to have you, Carla, and how much we appreciate you.
Thank you.
And the work you're doing, and all of you, Denise and Joan. And we know we're preaching to the choir when we're talking about, inclusive practice and meaningful inclusion for our kids. So it's nice to be able to work together toward that end. And thank you, Sepac, for all you do.
Wouldn't have done it without you, Mel.
Team.
Literally.
Team. And Jamil, we got you. We got your back, girl. Okay.
Okay.
I'm sending out an email right literally as we talk. I'm sending out an email. So and I'll touch base. I'll circle back as well.
It is tough to get my kid to some of you guys are talking about how excited your kids are to participate in sports and stuff. My kid's like, mom, nothing but bad things are going to happen. So to even get him to the point where he might want to try something, and then when I don't find out about it, or I hear that there's other things that have been put in place and I never even was told, it just makes me feel like, there's just no way to get my kid involved, and he'll just sit in front of a computer for the rest of his life. And
I know I've been scarred for life over dodgeball, Jamil, so I can totally identify with Quentin.
I ain't going out there, Jim. I'm still traumatized by the little.
To get my head whacked by a ball. What are you, crazy? But
I'm still traumatized by the little outfit I had to wear in gym class when I was in school. So
and trying to climb a rope, seriously?
Oh my
god! Or having to sweaty try to get ready for your next class, without taking showers. How gross that was.
Yeah. So just knowing that at least. And so, Joan, when you say you don't, if you don't hear anything, you assume I'm getting it. I don't know how to tell you anything because I don't know what I don't know. So I don't know how we can communicate for me to tell you that I'm not getting anything.
Well, I would say after a few days, if you're not inundated with emails, no, and I'm not joking.
Yes, to the point. It will be inundated.
Okay, so I will.
You need to call me or email me and say 3 days with nothing. I'm telling you, be careful what you wish for.
You know what? I already get inundated by so many other people. I can handle it.
Okay. But I'm telling you, if after 3 days you don't receive something, I need to know. I will continue to fight for this for you. I promise.
Okay, so on Monday, if I don't have a lot of emails before Monday, you'll get an email from me saying I have not heard anything.
There you go. That's what I need you to do.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right. I think that I don't see any more questions from folks.
I think we're good. The dog behaved and the Red Sox are losing 6-0. So, it really, both things that were of concern ended up not really.
Blah.
And then can I just add, if you guys are going to the Unified tomorrow, I'm planning on going. If you're going, take pictures, share on social media, invite your, candidates, your representatives, your whatever, people that put it out there on social media. Maybe someone consider writing something for the patch or, the transcript. It's really good to get the word out and to celebrate this in our community and let people really understand the pride that comes in this. And I'm excited to watch how the kids interact with each other tomorrow. And, Gracie's funny because she's like, I was telling her that we were going to go today and she was like, no. And then I said, it's not today, it's tomorrow. And still trying to get that concept. And, everything's right now, which in a way can be a good thing, being mindful, I guess, and in the moment. But I was saying, tomorrow, and then she finally agreed that she would go, but then it was like, but I want to play. And I was like, you're not playing, you're watching.
So
we will see how that all goes tomorrow, but I'm just gonna, roll with it, take it in stride, and, let her enjoy and have fun. And one of the things that I think we really need to encourage and celebrate is the beauty of imperfection among all of us. So I look forward
Absolutely.
to seeing you guys in whatever state tomorrow.
You're gonna love it.
I'm sure I will.
You're really gonna love it.
It is
I
so
hope
much
Gracie
fun to
will.
watch, and I can't wait to see how much the students have grown in their skills from
Yeah.
the first game to this game.
Yeah.
I didn't go to the one in Malden, but I'm telling you, they are so excited. Everyone cheers for one another when they make a basket, when they don't make a basket. I mean,
That's
it's
awesome.
just a great way to
So-
end the day. So
And I
would
will,
highly
yeah.
encourage people to
And I
go.
will say that the kids that joined that don't have disabilities, I will say that at the Malden game, and Carla, you probably saw this too, one of the students that played on the Malden team that did not have a disability was standing next to one of the Medford team members that did have a disability, guiding her on how to shoot from where she was. So it's really, it's everybody's in it for the right reasons.
That's awesome. And
Yeah.
I did invite them. What time, how long does it last? I invited the mayor.
An hour, it's just like an
Oh,
hour.
okay, yeah.
I sent out that email to the world, so I'm hoping that they all come.
Yeah, I invited the mayor, but she does Girls on the Run tomorrow. So she said she wouldn't
Oh.
be done till 4:30. So she was wondering how long it lasts. But I'll try to maybe I'll do some Facebook Live to share with folks. And then also I'm inviting the candidates too. So that's always interesting because they'll post. All right. Thanks, guys.
Well, thanks, everybody. Carla, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for sharing this information. And you know what? We can also do kind of an ad hoc update at some point as you kind of get into the assessment part of things in November.
Absolutely. Yep.
And just to kind of keep track and see where it's going.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I think we'll be doing a school committee
mid-year, yeah.
presentation too. They wanted an update at some point. How many referrals so we'll get that together and be able to present it to CPAC and also to school committee.
Yeah, and tell everybody you know and have everybody come to the game because representation is important. And we don't want to be a crock pot recipe, right? Set it and forget it.
This is great, and honestly, this has been so informative, and the passion that I'm hearing it's infectious and it's very cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. We're going to give you back about a half hour of your night.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining.
Thanks,
Especially everyone
everyone.
who's been
Thank
up
you.
since 6 working. Thanks,
Yes.
guys. Bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.